Hey, buddy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Jace. How you going, all right?
Mate, I'm not going too bad at the moment, mate. I'm on fly alert. There's a fly in
You're
here.
a fly
So at any time, I may have to go into attack mode during the show
Oh,
to kill this little bugger. So
oh.
I just want to keep you warned on that one. Buddy, where is he? Anyway,
Look at the high
mate,
look at the high tech technology you've got, mate. The old fly squatter, right?
mate,
Love
nothing
it.
works better than
That
the
is
fly
it.
squad. I tell
Look
you
at that.
what, it doesn't smell as bad as fly spray. And mate,
I
there's
love
something satisfying. You feel like, you feel like you're like Deadshot or something, where you can just nail it first time. So there you go.
it. Good stuff.
Mate, another week has gone by, which means another week
Yeah.
of news. So this is the show where we go and touch on some of the stories that we found interesting throughout the week, Rick. And I don't think we're going to muck around too much. We're going to start.
No.
I don't know if this has fascinated me the most this week, but certainly we've got to get the show started somehow. And that is
Oh,
Fast and the Furious news, mate. Fast and Furious
oh
10
yay!
is
Oh,
coming
wow.
up. It's coming up. We're going to get it soon. And as you can see on the screen, Jason Momoa is in talks to join the Fast family sequel. So
Wow.
is that big news for the Fast and Furious fans? Maybe. I mean,
No.
Jason Momoa certainly fits the archetype, the big
What are they
muscly kind of dude.
what are they swapping? Just like one Samoan for another Samoan. You know what I mean? Get rid
Well,
of the Rock,
the
we
other
get another one.
Samoan, mate, he made it very clear that he wants nothing to do with the Fast.
He
and
won't.
Furious
Yeah, that's
anymore.
right.
You know, they definitely had their falling out. And for a while there, it looked good. I think someone got married or engaged, whatever. And who was it? Rock? Was it Rock get engaged or married? It was the other way around. And they'd had a little exchange going, thank you, da, da, da. But no, when he was asked, he was like, no way.
Nah,
He
you
was
know,
not
nah.
involved.
The big feud was there between him and Vin Diesel, and it's been going on for a while. And
Yeah.
I just want this. You know what, dude? I just want this over. I don't want any more. Like, they're just ridiculous movies, and they're just not even entertaining.
Mate,
I don't find them entertaining.
They hit their peak around 5 and 6, I think, as a series. That's when they kind of, I think, hit the peak of the franchise. But they've just become more ridiculous. But, mate, money talks. They make a buttload of money in the cinema, that's the reality. So they're going to keep making them.
I've never gone to the cinema and seen any, so
No, but you've seen every one, right?
True.
Yeah.
So bad. But Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw was good. I did like that.
Hobbs and Shaw was probably, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And that has to do with chemistry.
Yeah.
So, look, I think the idea is that they are wrapping it up in 10 and 11, I think. Or was it just 10? They're wrapping up the entire
it's 10,
franchise.
but it's split in two movies.
It's a Harry Potter 7 type of scenario. Part
Fuck,
one,
they got
so
much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they've been to space at this point.
I know.
Unless they come up with some sort of multiverse version, they start stealing from, Spider-Man
Time travel.
Home.
Bit of time travel, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Get the DeLorean out. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Not for me.
So no, who cares? Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But it was a big story, so we're going to talk about it. But really, who cares? So
Someone
move on to the
cares
next
out
one,
there.
which I kind of care about a little bit more, this next story, because I would consider one of the original fans, because I was at that age. I remember them being the commercials for the initial toys coming out. I remember them being released. I remember my mum finding it extremely difficult to get any characters in the beginning. And she was, God bless her, she was able to find me a Skeletor and a Beastman. So clearly I'm talking about He-Man. And they've announced they finally, they're moving forward with a movie, even though it's going to be a Netflix film.
Yeah.
It sounds about right to me. I think that's probably where it belongs. And they've got Kyle Allen to star. Now, do you know where he's from? Have you ever seen this kid before, Rick?
No, he's from West Side Story. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. He's made a bit of an impact in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story that's been out recently, which absolutely nobody saw. So, Rick, all right. We've cast have we cast He-Man or have we cast Adam? And I think we
that's the thing. Correct. I think, obviously, are they going to go with CGI? Because this guy has no physique, He-Man physique. Like, if this show's coming out, this year? Apparently late this year, I believe. Is that correct? Or
let's have a look down at the story. No, I don't think there's any date that's really been...
nothing? Oh, I'm going to read it somewhere else. But, yeah, look, if they're going to go CGI, then maybe it might work. But
I don't think He-Man should be CGI. It's just be a big buff dude.
Are they going to go like Incredible Hulk and then do like Lou Ferrigno and that?
Yeah, well, what's someone wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That works for me. Like, if he's going to transform, have him someone that actually is transformative, like completely kind of transform. Or maybe they got to take on it, Rick, where they go, look, we'll put this kid in for a gym for like 9 months. You know, we oil him up, we light it a certain way, we make sure we use the right type of lens, and you never know, they can make it work. Hollywood's got many, many ways of doing a bit of visual trickery. If they use CGI, look, they're going to need enough CGI for the background, some of the characters. I don't think they should go. I don't think they should go down that way. I'm excited a little bit because I'm a real fan of what I was not only a fan of the figures, Rick, I was a fan of the art style on the back of the boxes.
Yeah.
So if you remember all the graphics for the toys, and I really should have brought that up earlier. Let's have a look. Box art, Masters of the Universe. If you remember like the original artwork, it was so fantastic. And look at some of this stuff. We'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Look. You can already see, look at that. You know, look at some of this original artwork that they had. It was so gorgeous and so, reminiscent of the late 70s and
Skullcracker.
Yeah, album covers and that. So, I really, really, I really want to see this kind of visual style out of the show. I really do.
I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit concerned it's going to Netflix. I think maybe someone else should do it. I don't know.
Well, you think it deserves a theatrical release?
I reckon they could do something well with this. It is such a loved genre, and people love He-Man. Like you said, there's a massive fan base for this, and they haven't really delved in this much, have they? I mean, look, we had...
Well, they've never really dealt with it appropriately. I mean, they had the cartoon, and the cartoon was obviously...
It's very successful.
Was created, designed to sell those toys. That's exactly why that cartoon was created. And obviously being a kid's cartoon, it's a very kind of... I haven't honestly watched Master of the Universe Revelation, but that's been a lot of controversy.
Great shot, yeah.
Kevin Smith, really good, he was involved in that. The live-action film from 1980, I think it got a cinema release here in Australia at the time, but certainly was a very much a canon production, a Golden Globus production of the late 80s, meaning it was a little bit B-grade. So, look, there's opportunity. Hey, when you've got Amazon spending $500 million on Lord of the Rings, you've got HBO Max invested in Batman spin-off shows, you've got more, stuff that we'll talk about later as well, and all the other franchises. And you've got Disney with Star Wars, and I would assume Netflix is looking for that type of level, IP that'll make money and will draw in more subscribers. So, look, I'm hoping it's going to be good, but I mean, who knows? I think they've made it in Netflix, Rick, because I don't think the fan base is as strong. Like, if this movie was being done 20 years ago, there'd be a lot of excitement.
Because wasn't it with Sony? Wasn't Sony toying with the idea of
it's just gone from studio to
studio? Yeah.
At one point, Joel Silver, like the guy who produced like the Lethal Weapon series and a lot of the action films from the 80s and 90s, he had it in the early 2000s. So it's bounced from studio to studio for decades, Rick. And you got to remember, this stuff come out in 82, right? That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, has it ever been as strong in those times? No. It is the franchise survived based on nostalgia only. So I think this is their chance to hopefully bring it, up a bit more realistic. I certainly think they should go for the realism and the barbarian type of look and feel like some of those images I showed you. Yeah.
We'll wait and see what happens.
We'll wait and see. But as we were talking, we just kind of, I led on to there. I gave myself a nice little segue just before, talking about how HBO Max is investing and stuff. The biggest show on the planet, globally, the most watched show currently in the world right now is Peacemaker. An exceptional show. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, every episode seems to top itself. Last week's episode was just phenomenal. It is an incredible show that's so unique to James Gunn that they're talking about doing another Suicide Squad spinoff.
Wow.
In development, which he's not saying anything about. And it also looks like we're getting more Peacemaker. So no one's committed to everything yet, but it looks highly likely.
So it's in the talks. They're talking about it.
Absolutely they're talking about it. But I suppose the speculation comes, Rick, is who do you think the next spin-off series is about? If it's a spin-off of Suicide Squad, so you need to think about who's still alive, or maybe not. Maybe they go backwards, leading up to the film. Who would you like to see as a spin-off standalone series? And also, who do you think it'll probably be?
Oh, look, there's a lot of good characters in that realm. You know what I mean? I would love to see something on Amanda Waller, just because I think she's just such a badass and she's got so much history and darkness to her. I'd love to see how she evolved. They could go back to Ric Flair, although he did die. Well, you saw him get stabbed. Don't know if he died, but they could do something there. Ratcatcher would be pretty cool. A different, something funny, something different along those sort of lines, maybe. But I'll probably say they'll probably go with Edra, with his character.
Maybe, but I reckon Idra's like story arc was pretty definitive. Like, I think we got the full story for him. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, if it's just what I would want, I would want a Weasel and King Shark show. Yeah,
King
absolutely.
Shark.
Yeah, those two teaming up.
Stallone.
A TDK, maybe. TDK would be, I think, a really funny show. Nathan Fillion's character, I think, would be a funny show. Pete Davidson's, we saw bugger all of him. I wouldn't mind seeing a prequel series of him.
Really?
Yeah. But I do think it's probably going to be Ratcatcher. I think that image is pretty well spot on.
Yeah.
They're not saying it. They're just an example. But she's just a character that worked so well in that movie.
Yeah.
And would have been a character that I thought I wouldn't be interested in throwaway. So, I'd like to see. Absolutely. I think that's where they'll go. But who knows? The thing is, the world, like, the DC world is in James Gunn's hand at the moment. He can do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? No. Did you see the reference? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of references in this show. Certainly a great Superman reference. But yeah, did you see the other Batman villain reference that Peacemaker was able to take out a Batman villain that and Batman couldn't. And they mentioned it right at the beginning of the episode. Do you remember what it was, Rick?
Oh, geez, I saw it last week.
Kite Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kite Man was originally Batman. That was pretty cool.
That's right,
Cool.
Yeah.
And I do look. I'm on his side. Like, Batman catches criminals, puts them in jail, just for them to break out and do more.
And redoing it. Go same circle. Go over and over again. Yeah. We're Peacemaker just
side. Anyway, we can go on about Peacemaker. We could go into that show. That'd be a 5-hour show. So let's move it along a bit, I reckon, Rick. Now, the next story is still in the comic book realm, but obviously we were blessed with one of the great comic book movies at the end of last year. In a pretty average year, I thought, for comic book films. God, it ended well. And obviously I'm talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. and our cat is out of the bag. The incredible mix of Peter Parkers in the movie and that. So it begs the question: Tom Holland has finished his contract. He has done not only his trilogy of films, but he's appeared in 3 Marvel films as well, being Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. So he's been 6 times. He's made his appearance. He's finished them. So the question is, and there's all this speculation about Andrew Garfield potentially doing another Spider-Man and that. Finally, somebody's asked Tom Holland, "Are you coming back?" That's the big question. Are we getting more Spider-Man? And he isn't sure, dude. He doesn't know.
No.
I mean, I think he was, I know we've had a lot of lying from people involved in Spider-Man for the last 12 months. And we thank you for lying to us. But I think he was being really honest here when he basically,
I think he's genuine,
saying, the truth is, and you're not going to like the truth, I don't know the answer to that question. And he goes, this film, to me, was as special experience as could ever be. Sharing the screen with these guys. Playing Spider-Man could be quite an alienating experience because, we're the only 3 blokes who've done it. All right? On film. We don't want to... We can't forget Nicholas Hammond playing the TV version back in the 70s. We're the only 3 blokes who've done it. So to share it with you two has been such a wonderful experience, of which I have such amazing memories. So he's basically coming in and saying, look, I don't know. And he kind of, with that comment, he was saying, look, if this is where it's going to end, what a perfect way to end my time.
Let it go.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he goes on to continue to say, I know I love this character and know that I'm not ready to say goodbye. But if it's time for me to say goodbye, then I will do so proudly, knowing I've achieved everything I wanted to do with this character, and sharing it with these boys will be forever one of the most special experiences of my career. So if it's time, it's time. If it's not, it's not. But at the moment, I don't know. So what? Out of all that, it's very vague, and obviously contract negotiations are at play here, mates. You're not about to be really honest to the media about what your real intentions are. But I would say it is pretty clear. I think he hopes it'll continue. Like he said, he's not ready to let go of the character. So yeah.
It's always tricky though, because you've got, obviously Disney and Sony, they own them both properties, they share the same properties. So they could still do something in that for him. But like you said, I think he's genuine, and and we all know in the past he's always slipped up and always said things by accident about any, Marvel truths and whatever. Yeah. But yeah, he generally loves playing this character, and he's so good at playing this character and seeing him on the screen. I'd love to see him a little bit more. But if they decide, that's it, I think they've left it beautifully. I think they've done it beautifully with the 3 on screen. They've done what they did. It was magical seeing it all, and just leave it at that. And then
from a story perspective, we got Peter Parker's high school years, which were only ever touched on in the other previous iterations of the character. So, yeah, I mean, there's absolutely potential to see how he goes and he moves forward. It would be I would say, a very different type of Spider-Man because he's very much isolated as a character if they move forward for him. Yeah, I tend to think, I don't know. I think we're more likely, if I was a betting man, I think we're more likely to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU, like in a shared film, another Avengers film or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they'll go back and do a standalone film at this point. I mean, money talks, doesn't it? And it's made, what is it, the 3rd highest grossing film now at this point? So
it's crazy.
Yeah, we'll kind of wait and see. But it's, Did you actually see that interview? There's an interview online, guys, and it's the first time they've done it, where they interview Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland all at the same time. And guys, check it out. It's half an hour long, but it's a fantastic interview. One of the best, actually. So definitely check that out. Now, Rick, we'll move on now to the next story. And this is in my realm, in my world.
You love it.
I love it. obviously tattooed on my arm, and
that's it.
Yeah, it's obviously Star Wars. Star Wars is going through quite an interesting renaissance at this period. We have shifted from films, which we always thought that's where Star Wars lives and breathes. It lives in the theater because it's grandiose, it's a space opera, it's designed to be that huge. And obviously the sequel series came out, and let's face it, a lot of people were disappointed. Like, didn't kind of work. So, the fact that they decided to go into television was such a big deal for Star Wars. I remember going, well, how's this going to work? And of course, we all know now, we got The Mandalorian 2 seasons were absolutely phenomenal. Jon Favreau, awesome. Dave Filoni, creating this spirit, this energy of the original series of films, and then pushing forward the mythology and the stories rather than kind of going back. They're kind of going forward, even though they are in time-wise back, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So either way, long story short, Book of Boba Fett's come out. People have been a bit up and down with it. Me, I love it. I'm biased. I don't care. The show's amazing. I love every episode. This week's episode was very different, though, because it was called The Mandalorian. And it was an episode of Boba Fett with no Boba Fett in it.
Boba Fett.
But it was without doubt, I think most of us agree with this, Rick. Probably the best episode of the season so far.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Where we get to see Din, and we get to see his journey after the end of season 2. We get to see he still has the Darksaber, that the armorer, and that she survived. We get to see that, he has to go and make this journey now to be considered a Mandalorian anymore. We go back to Tatooine. We get the incredible, and I never would have thought this, the Naboo Starfighter, the NX Starfighter,
they were
has now been refitted for the Mandalorian in this epic scene in Beggar's Canyon, which is the chase scene from episode 1. I don't know. Yeah, you remember it?
Yeah.
I don't know. How many times you've seen episode 1?
Not a lot. Not as many as you.
Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot. Have you?
But apparently, when they go around in that canyon, you can actually see some of the debris that they had.
Yeah, that was yep. So with the ramp when Anakin actually bursted through that signage, that's kind of still there. There are lots of amazing references in that episode, not including stealing from other movies. Like there was a pretty well shot for shot, Terminator looks like saying. We had these droids stepping through like a post-apocalyptic scenario. So, and like a Jurassic Park reference in there. And it was just a wonderful, glorious episode. But it's a long way of getting to what the story is about. And the story is Bryce Dallas Howard. Star Wars fans, and obviously this is a bit of a sensationalist kind of heading, but there's a lot to it. I mean, Star Wars fan demand Bryce Dallas Howard direct a trilogy after a book. Now, okay, that's over the top.
Okay,
let's cool our jets a little bit on that one, all right? But you cannot deny that the episodes that she has directed of The Mandalorian and this episode of Book of Boba Fett really puts her as one of the strongest creative storytellers in this space. I mean, she's Hollywood royalty, mate.
Oh, look who her father
is. Her lineage. Look at her father, look at her grandfather. Look at people around her, and she knows. She is absolutely. I mean, I think
she knows
if you were going to give her somebody a film, I think she is absolutely a director I would back 1,000%. Because you got to think about it, some of her episodes of Mandalorian are pretty basic storylines. But she made them exciting. There's a scene in this week of Mandalorian, right? And it should have been a throwaway, dumb scene. And it's the little droid, which everyone would recognize from his Galaxy tours from if you're in America, where he goes to the airport and he has to,
handle his guns and
now that could have been just a dumb scene, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the way she shot it and the way that it is, that's a big deal for him. Yeah. He's a Mandalorian. You're not supposed to give away your weapons at any cost. So you get this tension that's built out of that scene by him putting all these things. And, he goes to put the Darksaber down and you go, no, don't put that Darksaber in there. What are you doing? But, it's a bit of a misdirect. He gets it all back in the end. But just those simple touches that she is adding in to her work. Because remember, they get a script, they get storyboards, but it's up to her to make that come alive. It's up to the director to give it context.
She's a great storyteller. Like I enjoy these shows. Like I love them. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, as you know, Jace, but when these shows came out, I was really involved in them. And I just love the whole storytelling. And like you said, this episode that we had with Boba Fett was so good that you didn't have to be a Star Wars fan to know, and you can find out all the history and everything behind it. You knew all the lead up to everything that she did with all the characters and so forth. It was really, really good. Look, I don't know if she's the one to do a trilogy. Maybe definitely a movie for sure. But it would be.
Yeah, I think trilogy is a bit much, but
it's a bit much.
But
movie,
well, even her own series, whether she decided to be the creative voice of her own series. I mean, but what they are doing so well, and she highlights, obviously, there was a lot of that in her episode, and what the new version of Star Wars is. And the reason like people like yourself are getting on board is because they're going back to that simplistic adventure and fun kind of style. And, there is a lot of fan service there, but I don't feel that. Why shouldn't it be fan service? Because it is made for the fans. And secondly, I don't think it is, denigrates the fact that they embrace the prequel series, like the prequel trilogy. For most of the last 15 to 20 years, Rick, has been mocked and put down, from Jar Jar to Anakin Skywalker to you name the insults that have come out about that trilogy. And I find it quite ironic that now those films are embraced. They're loved, and we reference them now in the new Star Wars content as something to be proud of, where I think, if you were to think about it, that's why the sequel trilogy failed so much, because J.J. Abrams spent most of his time to go, forget all that. This is what you want, right? Yeah. This is what you want. And in reality, us fans, all we really wanted was good stories and, move it forward.
Correct.
So, people go about the original trilogy, but all I was going to say, remember, the universe was saved by a bunch of teddy bears throwing rocks. So let's not get picky about Jar Jar here. But there you go. All right, Rick. Now let's move on to the last story of the week we've got. This one is a peculiar one, Rick.
It is.
This one out. Arnold Schwarzenegger has been on Twitter. He's a big Twitter head. He's all over the place. And
Big Arnie.
Coming February 2022, Zeus. And I looked at the image, Rick, and I went, man, good casting. He'd be dope, Zeus. Like, no, right? But you've kind of read a bit into this more. You've read a little bit more into this story, Rick.
Yeah.
I believe. And I've looked a little bit too. And maybe it isn't what it seems. Is this a poster for a film, Rick? Or could it be for something else?
Nah, look, I think he's referencing it as obviously something revolved around Super Bowl. So
because it's February 2022.
Super Bowl's big, obviously, in the States. Not as big over here in Australia, but
we don't give a shit.
We don't. Yeah, look, he's probably. It could be. Who knows? It could be for a beer. It could be for. Who knows? But it's definitely not a movie. Not a TV show.
I wish it was though.
I know he does look fucking badass, but what is Arnie? 74. So he's getting on, but good on him. So whatever he's doing or whatever, be good just to see Arnie on the big screen in some shape or form. You know what I mean?
The fact that he hasn't really been in he's been in DC, obviously playing Mr. Freeze. You're not sending me to the cooler. But in this current iteration of DC and Marvel, would have loved to have seen him in a role.
You never know
in that universe.
You never know.
So, but there you go.
It might spark something, and someone might go, "Oh yeah, let's do something with Arnie." But who knows? We will see.
Well, that's it, Rick. That's all the stories I think it was worth talking about this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a great time at the moment in streaming television. Not so much at the movies. Not a lot happening in the movies, but you got to keep on. You forget to pay your electricity bill there, mate. You go on dark all of a sudden. Yeah, but yeah, look, mate, guys, if you haven't been watching Book of Boba Fett or Peacemaker, both those shows at the moment are just knocking it out of the park. Get on that kind of stuff. As for us, we'll be back next week to talk about more stories in the world of entertainment, won't we, Rick? And
we certainly
big thing
will.
For us is that we really like hearing from you guys, getting your feedback, seeing if you agree with this, you disagree with us. And Rick, of course, how do they do that?
Guys, all you need to do is give us a comment down below. Also, give us a thumbs up for the video. We really, really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, and just follow us all on our social media sites. And also, guys, go check out our new merchandise store. So we've got some really cool stuff there as well, guys. So we've got links everywhere.
See it all at the bottom of the stage. Yeah, check out our new stuff. Yeah. There's a lot more.
Get on it, guys.
PopCultureSpreadsTore.com. Absolutely. Get on it. All right, mate. That's it for me. I'm out of here.
That's it for
You're
me.
Out of here. We've had a big week. It's been good fun. So yeah, until next time, I would suggest, mate.
Catch you next week.
We'll see you next week.